everybody, this is Allie. Welcome back to my channel Color Mama 360. It's time for another video. So good morning, good night, good middle of the night, depending on when you're watching. Today's video is all about taking a look back on the last year on YouTube. So if you didn't know, this month marks 1 year of my channel and being on YouTube. I've had a couple different things going on this month to celebrate what I've been calling Milestone Month. And today's video is just going to be a look back on some of the things that have happened over the past year, including answering some questions, showing you some different pages and books, and we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. So the first thing I wanted to show you today was the first colored page that I ever shared on the channel. But first, I did not share any colored pages in my very first video. So just looking back on the channel, my first video was my welcome video. That was posted on July 29th, 2025. So there was no completed pages in that video. However, the next video I posted was a combination video of my May, June, and July completed pages. So this was the very first completed pages video I ever posted. That was posted on August 1st, 2025. And the very first colored page that I ever showed you on the channel was in Symphony of Cute Animals by Kanoko Igusa. But before that, the very first page I showed you, just as a little extra, was actually in Hidden Earth by Rita Berman. And it was this page. It was a whip at the time. So I showed you it as a whip. I think I had the background done and maybe a few of the flowers, but that was it. And I still really like this page. It's, yeah, I would say that it's definitely in like the top of my favorite pages rather than the bottom. If we were just to separate like pages I liked that I've colored versus pages I didn't like, this is definitely in the pages that I liked. I can't really think of anything that I would necessarily do different as far as like any big changes. I know these flowers were originally a different color, but I did go in and change them. And then also the top of this mushroom was a different color and I went and changed that. So if there was anything about this page that I would change, it would honestly just be to do this color to begin with. But this is still, like I said, a very high regarded page that I've colored, and I really like the way that it turned out. So I showed you that as a whip in that very first completed pages video. But then the very first completed page I showed you was this one, like I said, from Symphony of Cute Animals by Kanoko Igusa. And this also is one of my favorite pages I've ever done. And I don't really think I would do anything differently. I think I know different ways to color the birds now that I could have maybe done a better job. But as far as everything else, I just love the way this page turned out. I love the combination that I used for the blue. The soft pastel really worked on this page. I had a lot of erasing. I remember that there was just a lot of erasing to do because I just went over all the line work with the soft pastel. But yeah, I really like the way that this page turned out. And this was the very first completed page that I ever showed you on the channel. And if we just take a look back here, I actually put that it was unknown when I completed it, but I believe it was in May of last year. So that is the very first page I ever showed you on the channel. Now, the very first page I ever colored on the channel is different. And I did a color and chat video that was posted on September 22nd of 2025. But since it was my first color and chat video, I didn't actually do any coloring because I was trying to talk and color at the same time. And I think I even still did a voiceover for that one, but I still wasn't sure how I wanted to do things. And so during that first color and chat video, I actually just swatched my Tombos, I believe it was. And then it wasn't until my work week whip video, which I posted, I think a couple months after that, that I actually did some coloring on camera. And the first book I showed in that video was Year of Witches by Yusiku. And I didn't color necessarily in this book, but I did erase. And the page is still unfinished to this day. So you've probably, if you follow my channel for a while, seen this page before. I just absolutely hated the way it was turning out. And so I gave up and left it as a whip. And it has been abandoned ever since. But in that very first work week whip video, I had already done the soft pastel and I was going through and erasing, I believe. So after I did that, I did switch over and actually do some coloring in that video. And the book that I colored in was Fragile Worlds by Kirby Roseanne. So officially, this was the first book I ever colored in on camera. And I did the water on this, oops, just dropped my notebook, on this eel page. So I had already done the eels, I believe, and then I had started the water maybe down in this corner. And that's what I did during that video was I came in and did more work on the water. And I love the way that this page turned out. Again, another favorite that I've done definitely in the past year. But it's such a simple page in a way, but also was pretty fun to color. I do, as you probably heard me talk about, kind of go through phases where I like repetitive elements or patterny pages. This kind of felt like one of those to me. I just had, color combination for the eels. So one for the yellow, one for the greenish, and then the blue. And then, of course, the white to make it look like water. So that was the first page I ever actually colored on the channel, and that was in my first work week whip video. Okay, the first challenge I ever hosted. I've hosted a few challenges over the past year, but the very first one was my fall bingo challenge. So I didn't do any sort of giveaway or anything for that one. I just put it out there for whoever wanted to participate. And it was really fun. I really enjoyed doing the fall bingo. I'm going to do something different this year. And this year I will be doing a giveaway because, as you know, again, if you listen to the channel regularly, I use Fetch, which is a app where you can play games and scan receipts to earn points and then convert the points into gift cards. So that is how I give away gift cards on my channel. And it's also a free way. I always put this out there. It's a free way to support the channel. If you go and use my referral code, I get points, and I use all the points that I accumulate to put back into the channel, whether it's buying things for the channel or most recently doing gift card giveaways. So that was the first challenge I ever hosted on the channel. I want to take a look now at a bit of a comparison. So this is Tales from the Witch's Cottage, and I believe this page was also this might have been in my first just monthly completed pages video, so August. And I did this all with Albert Durs right when I got them. It was based, activated with water, and then I used the Albert Durs over it dry. And then there's lots of Ohuhu glitter marker as well. And I still really love this page, but I wanted to kind of show you a comparison so that we can look at kind of my progression over the last few months. So I picked up another Hanna Karlzon page, and this will be a little bit of a sneak peek for my July completed pages, but I did a page in Seasons recently, and it was this double page spread. So let me put these kind of side by side. You'll just miss out on half of the double page spread. But I wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about how much I've progressed. Now, these are two different pencil sets, of course. I used Prismacolors on this page. So I based with the Albert Durs, but I went over the top with Prismacolors, whereas this is the Albert Durs Dry, which I'm not a huge fan of that technique. I don't really use that very often. I mostly use the Albert Durs either by themselves activated with water, or I use them as a base and then go over the top with Polychromos or Prismacolor, things like that. So, but here's just a little bit comparison of the same artist. So this would have been one of my first completed pages I showed on the channel, and this is a little sneak peek for July. I just thought that'd be fun to kind of show you guys. And here is the double page spread by itself, just so that you can see the other side as well. So yeah, I think I definitely am starting to get more in a groove with Hanna Karlzon as well. I own a lot of her books, and I think just in general my coloring is progressing. Actually, when I was preparing for this video and marking these pages, I didn't really see a whole lot of progression, but now that I'm looking at them side by side like this, I really do think that my coloring has progressed and I become more creative, like how I turned this person into like an avatar. I would have never thought to do something like that before. So I'm really proud of both of these pages, and I think it's really cool to see my progression over the past year. So that is a look at two pages that I've colored in the past year. and that's by Hanna Karlzon. I'm going to now show you a little bit of my biggest process change. So what I mean by that is like, how has my coloring process changed the most? So for this, I'm going to show you a page from Whimsical Gnomes. Now this would have also been in my very first completed pages video on the channel. It's this page here. And this page is done with the grass is acrylic marker, the sky is acrylic marker, everything else is just Prismacolor. So it's not, there's no sort of base or anything like that. And I really like the way that this page turned out. I did this in May last year. I remember that very vividly because I was coloring this after my grandpa died. He died in May of 2025. So I remember when I colored this page. But as you can see, I didn't base with anything. So one huge thing that has changed with my coloring is how much I use basing now on my pages. Now I use a combination of different mediums. If you watched my basing live stream, you would have seen me use Staedtler pigment pens, Tombow dual brush pens, Albert Durrs, and of course alcohol marker. And so here is a page by Teresa Goodridge as well that I did base, and this one was based with alcohol marker except for the leaves. So everything else was based with alcohol marker. And this is what it looks like based. So I would say that's probably the biggest difference between my coloring process is it's pretty rare that I just trying to get back to that page to show you guys them side by side, but I can't find it. It's pretty rare that I don't base a page now. So I don't know that you can really tell a huge difference with them side by side, but I do think the coloring process goes differently. I'll probably do a video. I think I've been saying this now for like a month, but I do have a video coming down the pipeline just kind of showing the way that I base and how the difference that I do them, if that makes sense. And I want to use that video to kind of do a self inventory too of like, is it actually saving me time? There's a lot of other benefits besides just the time. So even if it's not necessarily saving me time, there's a lot of other benefits because I can map out my colors. And I think it does make some of the colors more vivid and bright and oh my gosh, I can't talk, and vibrant. So yeah, and some of these bigger spaces are really nice with alcohol marker. You can see how streaky, if you look closely, like how streaky the acrylic marker was, and then the alcohol marker is actually decently smooth. There's a few places not so much, but so that is just kind of a look at those two pages side by side because that is one of the biggest differences in my coloring process. What page am I most proud of over the past year? It would definitely be that one that I showed you a sneak peek of, this spirit animals page. I am just obsessed with the way that this page turned out. I'll talk more about it in my completed pages video. I won't spoil the whole thing, but I had a vision for this page and I executed that vision, and I am just so pleased with the way that it turned out. I really do think that it looks great, and it took me a very long time, but I also took my time, and I'm definitely probably the most proud of this page out of any of the other pages that I've colored over the past year while having the channel. So there is that page from Spirit Animals again. Okay, I think this might be where I stop showing you things. So we'll just leave these books here so that you can look at them. But what is something about running a YouTube channel that turned out to be much harder than I expected? When I started the channel last year, for those of you, again, that are longtime listeners, I think I've repeated that like 15 times now, but for those of you that have been with me from the beginning or watch frequently, you'll know that I think I talked about this a little bit on the podcast too, that I started my channel when I was like 7.5, 8 months pregnant. And it kind of was not only just like a creative outlook, but it was something else to kind of get me through those last few months of pregnancy, as well as I think the timing just like worked out somehow. So What I'm getting at is when I started the channel, I really started the channel for myself. I wanted to have another creative way of sharing something that I love. And I didn't really care too much about, who was watching the videos, who was engaging with the videos. I didn't know anything about that kind of stuff. I'd never had social media prior to starting the channel. And so it wasn't on the forefront of my mind. And I think this is kind of hard for people to talk about sometimes, but once you start doing it, while I still do it for myself, if I didn't enjoy making content, I just wouldn't do it. There's something about the way that when, maybe a video doesn't do as well, or people aren't interacting, or it just doesn't feel like it's as enjoyed by people as you felt making it, if that makes sense. It does feel a little discouraging, and that was something that I don't think that I expected. And I know this might be a little bit of a taboo topic, so I'm not sure how much to share, but um I know that I'll always cherish my videos regardless, because I can look back at them and show them to my kids when they're older and things like that. And it's kind of like a little bit of a time capsule in a way of like my completed pages and just things like that versus flipping through every single book in my collection. But that's something I didn't expect, is to feel discouraged when things like that happen. But I've just moved on and kept going, and it is what it is. So how have I learned to balance everything without burnout? Now, I am very much a schedule and routine kind of personality. That is what I like. So, definitely how I manage it is I like having a schedule. I have a filming schedule, I have a posting schedule. I know not everybody pays attention to when things are posted, but for me, I love having that continuity and kind of that routine. So, I feel like that's helped not get burnt out on the creative aspect of it. On the coloring aspect, I really haven't experienced a coloring slump since starting the channel like I did right before starting the channel. So I definitely think creating content has helped with that, because if I'm not feeling like coloring, then I just flip it around to something else that's creative and find something new to do with content. I film more videos. There's some weeks when maybe I don't feel like coloring as much, that instead I just focus on creating content. And so I think that has helped a lot with the coloring burnout. There's been a couple times when I've felt a coloring slump coming on. I did a video about that a few months back. And really, what helps me get motivated is watching other people's videos, looking through my books. I think looking through my books is always going to get me motivated again, because I see pages that I'm like, oh, I really want to color that. And sure enough, it gets me going again. Some changes that I've made to the channel. So when I first started the channel, I did not track how many whips I had. I wasn't paying attention to any of that. Then I did decide to track them, and I made a list. I have now gone back to not tracking them and not caring about how many whips I have in my collection. The only downside to that is I think that there's sometimes whips that I probably want to come back to but have forgotten about. And I'm just going to go with it though. I think what I really want to focus on is not caring so much if I do start something and not finishing it. I am very much a completionist, and so that's really hard for me, but this is a hobby, it's a creative outlet. If I start something and I don't feel like coming back to it right away, that's okay. So that is something that has changed, as well as I did try live streaming for a little while. It took me a minute to figure out what time worked. Then I figured out a time that worked for me, and I did that for a little while. I tried different things with it, like having a topic and things like that. And I think I've just decided it's not really for me. I still am not really in the headspace yet to go into more detail about why or anything like that, but I am not going to be doing that regularly. It's just not out of the list of things that I enjoy when it comes to creating content. Videos on YouTube and the podcast are definitely way higher than live streaming. And so I want to put my energy into those things. I won't be doing them regularly anymore. If I feel like it, there may be special occasions when I try it again, but as for a regular schedule, I will not be going back to that. And then I also added in shop my stash videos. So I've been doing those seasonally, and I love doing those videos. I mean, it's really what I would just be doing on my own anyways, but instead I get to share it with you guys, then we get to interact in the comments. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed those as well. Things I would like to try. I'm starting a new series on my channel called Spend the Morning with Me, and those are going to be really relaxed, kind of just all over the place videos where they're probably the closest I'll ever get to doing like a vlog type video on my channel, but it's really just going to be a combination of doing different things and kind of what my coloring routine looks like in the morning. There will be some live talking, there will be some voiceovers, there will be sped up portions. It's really going to just kind of be a way to make you feel like you're spending the morning with me while I do my coloring. And there will be different topics or different things that I'm working on. I have a few different ideas for themes, I guess you could say, for those videos coming. And then I would like to try and do some sort of randomizer. I know a lot of people do these on their channels. Some people do them seasonally, some people do them monthly. I did something kind of like this with my 26 books for 2026, but we got down to so many themed pages that I knew I wasn't going to color a Halloween page in the middle of summer. So I decided to stop randomly pulling those. I don't think I would want to do like a large section of a randomizer, but I think every now and then it might be fun. Maybe that's something I would add into the Spend My Morning with Me videos. I don't know what that looks like, but I would like to maybe incorporate that at some point just a little bit. I also want to work on doing more impulsive or intuition type coloring. So, not always feeling like I have to follow strict plans, just kind of more a looser plan. So, my plans videos are just more, this is what I'd like to color. But if I am feeling a totally different book one day, I'm just going to start in that book. Just because it's not in my plans doesn't mean I'm not going to color in it. I just want to really follow my intuition and remember that this is a hobby and it's supposed to be enjoyable. And then I also want to start doing some more updated reviews. So a lot of times I'll share things with you in hauls, or I'll do like a flip through for a new book or something like that. And I feel like those are really first impressions. I haven't really gotten a chance to use the product, but it's been a year now, and there's some products that I've had for that entire year. And I want to start doing updated reviews to really share my thoughts on different things, and now that I've had them for longer. And then finally, some things that I'm keeping the same on the channel. I still plan to do plans videos and completed pages videos. I'm keeping my hauls seasonal. I did do a feedback form recently where I asked for your guys' feedback, and one of the questions was if I should just add into my monthly completed pages what I picked up that month, or if I should keep my hauls seasonal or do them quarterly, or what that should look like. And the based on the responses I got, it was to keep them seasonal, even if there's books that you may see on the channel before the haul, which is definitely probably going to be the case, because if you think about it, like seasonally, I'm picking up quite a few things throughout those few months. I don't always wait to color my books until I've shown them in a haul. So there's definitely going to be times when you've already seen stuff on the channel, but um, based on the feedback that I got, I will be keeping my hauls seasonal. I also will still be doing my podcast every other week. So if you haven't checked out my podcast, Beyond the Lines Coloring Podcast, I highly recommend checking that out. It's a great way to listen to something coloring related without having to have the video aspect. So you can listen in the car, you can listen while you're coloring if you don't want to look up. I have already done some really great interviews, and I am just so much enjoying doing those and talking to different people. And I have some more planned as well. So I will be doing those every other week. And then I will be doing my shop my stash videos still, as we already talked about. And like I said, I will still be doing challenges, and I have some more coming up. My next challenge will be in the fall. So I will give you a little bit of a hint. It does have to do with whips. So even though I'm not tracking them, I still am going to do a challenge that has to do with whips. And there will be more information on that to come in the future as we get closer to the fall season. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much. Please know that really what it comes down to this whole month was to celebrate you guys and all your support and everything that I feel like we have accomplished as a community here on the channel. And I couldn't have done it without you guys. It really makes such a difference. All of the interactions, the comments, the likes, the sharing, even people talking about the podcast or mentioning it in their live streams, it really truly just makes it so much more fun for me. And you guys are the reason that, I'm still here and still making videos a year later. And so this is just a big thanks to you. I hope you had a fantastic month, and I'm so excited to see what else comes in the future. Happy coloring, everybody. See you next time. Bye.